Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you guys how I start a hoop, tie it off when I run out of thread, restart it, and end it. But first let me show you how I thread my needle, since some people are curious about how I do that. So you're going to take your quilting thread, which is what I use, or any type of thread that you're using. You can use anything that you prefer when it comes to beading. I prefer the hand quilting thread that I get from Walmart. I've been using it for a long time. And what I like to do, I have long arms, so I do 3 wingspans when it comes to beading hoops, depending on the size that they are. These are pretty big. These are over 2 inches, a little bit bigger than what I normally am used to beading around, but there are some ladies out there who do like the big hoops, you know, the bigger the better. I'm not one of them, but I do love beading them. So let's go ahead and do the 3 wingspans. This is just a little bit longer than the 3 wingspans, so we're gonna cut it just a little bit short on the 3rd. You can go ahead, cut that off. Make sure that there's no strays on the end of your thread, because what I'm using, the needle, for some reason it's really tight. The eye is tight, so it's really hard for me to get my thread through right now. But because I'm stubborn, I refuse to get another needle. Also, this needle is still pretty straight. So far this is working out to be pretty good. When I did thread my needle last night to finish off this hoop, it was not being very cooperative, let's just say that. It's getting pretty naughty. But this is going really well. I'm happy about that. Maybe it's going well because I'm recording. I don't know. But you're going to double up your thread all the way to the end after you get your 3 wingspans. I just keep double checking it. This is a lot longer. Maybe it's about two Nate lengths long. My little guy Nate. Then you're going to get your wax and you're going to coat your thread with the wax, like so. I've done a close-up of this on previous videos, so if you'd like to get a up-close version of this, I can't remember which upload it is, but go through my videos and you'll find it. This wax I bought from Halford Hides, mailorder.com. And that's where I get my wax all the time. It comes in this like cute little cube-like type of thing. And they last for a very long time. Then after you're done coating your thread for your hoop, you're going to tie a knot at the end a couple times. Just a couple. You don't need it like 3 or 4 knots. It's just a little too excessive for the hoop. It'll make the beginning or the end of the hoop or the middle of the hoop, depending on where you're tying a knot, look a little too bulky. And then that's how your end should look. You can see. There you go. And we're just going to go ahead and I'll show you how I start it. So for this hoop, we're going to string up 7 beads. And for my background, I'm using a turquoise Duracoat. That's usually what I always start with on hoops when it comes to working with delica beads. So we'll get the 7, and I don't start wrapping it around the hoop right away. I'll put my delica beads in a circular motion for the beginning. Put that through there. So we got that circular motion going on there. You can see where my knot is from where I started, and you can see where I've come through the 1 bead to start my peyote stitching on the hoop. Then we're going to go ahead and skip 1 bead and go through the next bead. Skip the next bead and go through the one after that. And we'll do this one more time before attaching it to the hoop. We're almost full circle. So far I've strung up my 7 beads and then added 3 beads. Now you're going to take your hoop, place it through, close that up. And we're just going to continue along with this turquoise for a couple of rows. This is how I start all my hoops. Just trying to get it to focus for you guys. Just continuing along. This right here where the knot is my, usually about my middle, and it goes on the inside of my hoop all the time. You're gonna see where I'm gonna start off with using my color for my design. In this video, I'm not going to go into too much detail on my design. If you so wish to use this design from this hoop, you can by all means. But I'm not going to go into too much detail on how it is how I make this design. It's going to look a little loose when you first start out with making the hoop and everything. So you're going to have to hang on to it, and you're going to have to hang on to it throughout the entire beginning of the hoop. So things didn't start getting really tight with my hoop until I got a little more than halfway, and that's when things started getting a little bit tighter. But you're always going to have to maneuver it depending on what type of design you got going on. A lot of beaders who make hoops like this don't really care too much about whether their beads move or not, because it depends on the design that you have. For my design in particular, I do want my beads to stay in place where I do place them for my design. So, but like I said, once you get more than halfway through a hoop, your design usually starts to stay in place. No glue. I don't use any glue for my particular work unless I absolutely need to. If I know that it's going to keep moving, then I will use a glue at the both ends, just the both ends, nowhere else. So we're almost coming up to the middle where I want to start my design on this hoop. Let's check it out. Yep, so this is where I'm going to start off making my design. And I will come back when I have to tie off this thread, because I am going to run out of thread. Alright, I just ran out of thread and I was literally so close to the end. So I'm going to show you guys how I tie it off and then restart. So what I like to do is I like to tie a knot a couple of times. So this is kind of tricky because I didn't leave much thread. I was really trying to get to the end, you know, and then I was like, nope, I'm not going to make it. So I like to tie a knot a couple times. So once, then we'll do it twice. This is kind of awkward because it's on the inside of the hoop, but it's doable. Right? Then I like to bring the thread through a couple of the beads. And then I actually push it through to the inside of the beadwork, close to the hoop, like so. And then I cut it off here. And then you just rethread your needle. I'll be right back for that. Okay, once you have your needle rethreaded and you got your end knotted twice, then you can go ahead and start where you left off. But this is how I like to do it. I like to go from the inside of the hoop, once again close to the inside, like close to this hoop, close to the hoop that I'm beading on, and bring my needle through, just through the beadwork, you know, not necessarily in a bead or through a piece of thread. I'm not going through this thread, I'm going through the beadwork. That way your knots are kind of tucked on the inside and hidden, because I don't really like my knots showing all that too much when I'm doing hoops. Once you bring it through the beadwork, then you can start back where you left off pretty much. So this is the bead where I left off, and I tied the knot twice. then I went through a couple of beads, and then I went through the beadwork from the outside in next to the hoop, and I cut it off there. And now we're just kind of restarting with our new piece of thread. Obviously this thread isn't as long as the original piece of thread that I was working with, and you just kind of continue where you left off. So my design is kind of tapering off now, and I'm just going to continue with a turquoise bead. Now I need a gold bead. And I will be back to show you how I finish off at the end of the hoop. Now that we've reached the end of the hoop, I'm going to show you how I like to finish it off. So I've come to the end. This is the last bead that I put in. I like to go through these last beads once or twice, depending on how many times I could fit the thread through, just to tighten the end up, you know, double strengthen it, however you want to word it. Once I come back around, then I like to go through a couple of the beads downward from the end. So we'll go through this bead on the inside, and then we'll go through this bead here. So it's kind of like second down from the end of the hoop. And this is where we're going to tie our knot. You're going to tie a knot a couple of times. Once you've got your thread knotted, then just like when we tied off to end where we ran out of thread, you're gonna go through the beadwork. So you're not gonna go through any beads, and you're not gonna go through any thread, and you're just gonna come out on the inside of the beadwork. Sometimes you have to maneuver the beads just slightly just to get the needle in. So this is on the inside of the beadwork. And then you'll just pull your thread through, and that's where you're going to cut off. And that, my friends, is how I make my hoops when I run out of thread. I don't usually run out of thread on my smaller hoops. It's mainly on my bigger hoops that I run out of thread on, like this size. This is just slightly bigger than 2 inches, I believe. 2 inches is the usual hoops that I like to work with. So this one's 2.5. Anything bigger than 2 inches, I usually end up running out of thread. And it's somewhat annoying, especially if you just run out and you're almost done. But it happens, and I hope this video helps you. And if you have any questions or comments, you just comment down below. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you all in my next video. Later!